Water pressure for your home, for plumbing, heating and air, water lines, irrigation system, etc. Question: if the water pressure to the home is not exactly where one wants it, does the homeowner or somebody, plumber, homeowner, etc., do it yourselfer, do they have the ability to alter the water pressure? To a degree, the answer is yes, perhaps. The incoming water pressure from the street is goes by neighborhood by neighborhood. You may be in one neighborhood, your water pressure may be high. You may be in another neighborhood and your water pressure may be low. So one may check with their water company. Sometimes one has to ask for the engineering department, perhaps give them your zip code, or better yet, one can stop at the box store, plumbing supply house, get a tool. It's a little gauge, and you simply screw it onto your hose pipe, and with everything off in the house, open the hose pipe up to the fullest extent, and then test the static water pressure to see what it's like. The average water pressure should be somewhere in the range of 65 to 75 psi. This is a happy median. This is anything lower than say 50 gets a little bit sketchy. And I have never put a booster pump on a system. I'm sure there are people out there, perhaps somebody can add this to the comments. Now, I have put many PRV, and when one hears the plumber say, we need to change the PRV valve, that's a truncated version or an acronym for pressure reducing valve. That simply means to reduce your water pressure to a manageable pressure so that your hot water is not compromised, your sprinkler system's not compromised, your faucets underneath the sink, the shower, etc. So one may get more longevity out of the system. So now, how could the homeowner or the plumber, etc., how could they, if the pressure was over 75 psi, it begs the question, how would one manage the pressure and get the pressure to a manageable psi, etc.? One would install something like this. This is a pressure reducing valve, and I'm not certain what they cost. They used to pick them up for about, say $30-50. They may be upwards of $100 now, and then you've got the labor, so it may be $350 job for a plumber to come put this in if one calls somebody to put it in. So now what this little gadget will do, and it's nothing fancy, the water comes in one side, the water goes out the other side. Okay, and it may have an arrow on it, so the water may have to go in one particular direction. I'm not certain on this one, but I feel confident that may be, in my opinion, here. So question is, now what will this little gadget do, this PRV or pressure reducing valve? This pressure reducing valve will get the range, and again, this is a range. Many of them are, say, from 25 psi to 75 psi. 25 psi, your faucets are going to barely dribble. 40 psi, it's not going to be good. You turn two things on at one time, it's going to delete your pressure, because if you turn something on in the kitchen, you're washing clothes, and somebody's in the shower, your pressure's not going to be almost non-existent. So, but when you get up to around 60, 75 psi, that should be sufficient pressure. So now one could have this installed in the main water line. So what happens with this pressure reducing valve, at this point, it has a nut here and here. Now, some of these are configured differently. I like the configuration of this because one can put a wrench, a gear wrench, or whatever they choose on the end, but this nut here must be loosened up first. Now, if I recall correctly, one rotates this clockwise to increase the pressure. So just think right to high, left to low to decrease the pressure. So clockwise may increase the pressure, counterclockwise may decrease the pressure. And the plumbers, they can add this to the comments and fact check me and make sure I'm right. Sometimes you do this stuff and you've done it so much you don't even think about it, and then sometimes theoretically it pops in your head and you're like, well, is that right, is that wrong, etc. But anyway, the plumbers can add this to the comment section. But my opinion is I think it goes right, increases the pressure, left. But this nut here on the bottom needs to be loosened, because if this nut here on the bottom, it's going to allow this top nut to turn. I think this bottom nut just holds this top nut stable. Now, one caveat: be careful and you don't back this out too far, because if you back this out counterclockwise, your pressure may get lower and lower, but you don't want to. I don't know if it's capable. I've never done this. Now, I've done it on irrigation valves, but on this, be careful you don't back it all the way out and this nut fall all the way out. So I'm not sure if it would have any adverse effects. But this is a PRV valve, a pressure reducing valve, that will get your water pressure from your home from 25 to 75 psi. Again, the optimum pressure is 65 to 75 psi. That's a great water pressure. That's not too low. That's not too high. That should give more longevity to your hot water heater, etc. But again, there's so many variables when it comes to plumbing. You may have hard water. You may have this. I mean, I've gone into neighborhoods where the water's, I'm not sure what's in the water. It just turns all the pipes green and the pipes start busting after 20, 30 years or so, one pinhole leak. So on the old copper. But this PRV, pressure reducing valve, may get you between 25 and 75 psi. So then what one can do is take this and then go and then check the pressure as they adjust it at the street. At the one has it attached to the hose pipe. I'm sorry, not the street. As one has the meter to the hose pipe, and then it may take two people, or one can do it and come back and forth. But if you got two, it would be easier. One just yelling at the other would save two trips, especially if this is under the house in the crawl space way back in the far back. So anyway, this will get your house and your water pressure to a manageable pressure. Again, PRV valve, pressure reducing valve. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.